Hello everyone, welcome to KozStreamsTV. I'm Koz, and I just want to say a quick thank you for spending some time checking out my videos. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button as it goes a long way in letting me know what you want to see more of. Now, let's jump into the video. Hey, welcome back guys. So last week we made some changes to the videos. I actually added the vault off to the side, and that way I had a V-roll running in the background the whole time. I don't know if you guys like it or didn't like it. It was a little bit of a pain to actually edit, and I think my editing skills aren't the greatest, so it took me a little longer than I wanted it to. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you think it was a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing it again. So last week's Emissary of War quest required you to do 4 mythic dungeons to get a heroic vault slot, and I did that on a lot of characters, so I didn't really do much pushing, at least not on the monk. So just quickly on the monk, we did get one major upgrade. We ended up running a heroic Firak, and we ended up getting the heroic tainted rage heart. We were running up with a normal, so 6 item level upgrade there. And then other than that with the monk, I tried to run a few keys. I tried to push up my rise. I did 4 24s. The only one we finished was a 24 when we walked in with 416 on the last boss. It was actually a pretty clean run. Coming in at 416, and then we had one of the DPS die in the last boss. We rezzed them, and then we had both the other DPS and the evoker die. We got the Og up instead of the DPS, so we ended up being 30 seconds over. 31 seconds that we were over is actually the same length as the RP. The RP from when you kill the last set of ads walking into Rise is 36 seconds. So if it wasn't for the RP, we most likely would have timed it, even with the deaths. I feel like Rise is a very challenging key on Tyrannical. The bosses are significantly overtuned. They do a lot of damage. The RP in the dungeon just needs to go. Having to fly from platform to platform is just a waste of time, and it feels like most of that dungeon is going from platform to platform or waiting on RP. I think a couple improvements to that dungeon is either they add 2 minutes or at least 1.5 minutes minimum to that dungeon, or they remove all of the RP. So when you finish the last 3 set of ads, you can run directly into the boss, and they remove the need to actually fly to the platforms and just make it a straight teleport. It doesn't make sense the way it is right now. There should be no RP or flying around in a Mythic Plus timed dungeon, and they should account for that in the timer. Right now, I think it's too tight on anything over than a 24. Even at 24, I struggle, so that is kind of my recommendation. I did also try a couple Everblooms at 24. Usually we'd get to the 3rd boss, and then either a healer would start standing in the AoE fire puddles, or they would just fall over to the damage or get hit by the ice orb. It was not a successful week on the monk, so I decided that I was going to focus on getting my weekly quest done for the heroic gear, and it actually worked out pretty well. We got some bangers. With that, we're going to jump right into opening the vault on the monk. I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to open it as Mistweaver, because I don't think there's much left for me to acquire as Brewmaster. So let's see what we get. So let's first see what we got from our dungeon weeklies. We got Mythic Track Shoulders, the tier piece, which we do not actually take because that is the piece, it's too heavy on haste, so we won't be taking that. We have 483 Mythic Track Feet, Haste Mastery, which again isn't very good. I'm running the crafted Slimy Expulsion boots, so probably won't take that. We have, I believe these are our best in slot shoulders from Ursoc, and then we also have our best in slot Crit Verse Ring. That is Mythic Track. That is an Agira ring. So I ran a quick sim, and when it comes to damage, neither one of these items are actually an increase at all. If I replace the Athena's ring with Signet, it is actually a 0.2% DPS increase. And we lose a little bit of crit and mastery, but we gain a lot of versatility. So with us doing a reclear tonight, I'm going to hold off on taking either one of these because the ring drops from Agira and the shoulders drop from Council. There's a chance I get these from drops, so I'm going to hold off until that occurs. Now here's a character I played a lot this week. My Demon Hunter, I told you guys I was going to push significantly on, and that's exactly what I did. A couple things that we got in regards to gear, I just did upgrades. I basically upgraded his head to 483, I upgraded his chest to 483, we also ran a Galakron's Fall, which actually dropped another double time for us, so I upgraded that. Both are enchanted now. So not only did we run the Galakron's Fall and get another double time, from our weekly reward, we ended up getting a Thorn Collar. So now we have both our single target and our AoE builds ready to go. So for Raid, Tyrannical, and for Fortified weeks. Coming from last week, the Demon Hunter was 468. He is now 472. And what a difference it is playing the Demon Hunter over the Brewmaster and keys. Taking a look at some of the keys we finished. As promised, I was going to try to get all 8 keys done at a 20 or higher. I was able to get everything except for Everbloom. I did run one, it fell apart, and I didn't go back to it, but I did get the rest of them done. I believe we started our week off around 24,500, and now we're at 2697. What did we complete last week? A 20 Atal, a 20 Blackrook, a 20 Fall, a 20 Thicket, a 20 Throne, a 20 Waycrest, and a 20 Rise. All of the keys were basically two-chested, and what a difference playing Demon Hunter is. They are so tanky, and they have so much survivability. Now, they're still a glass cannon, so if you jump into a pack and you don't have any single defensives up, or you don't have your Fell Devastation ready, you're going to fall over very quickly. But I could do very large pulls, having Sigil of Silence, Sigil of Misery, Sigil of Flame. I could pull stuff from all over the map and bring it into me. It was a lot of fun. I can see why Demon Hunter is in a good spot right now. So this week I'm going to continue pushing. I'm going to see if we can get his IO up to 2900 this week, which is doable, just getting a couple 20s and higher completed. So what we're looking at this week is Blackrook Hold, Galakron's Fall, Throne, Waycrest, Rise, and Everbloom all done at a 20 or higher. Now, the challenge is, it is a fortified Storming Bursting. People say this week is free, however, keys like Everbloom, it is not very free because the Dread Petals actually burst, meaning you can get up to 6 stacks very quickly. Another thing we did on Demon Hunter is we actually ran raids. So we're going to have two heroic raid vault slots and 3 mythic key vault slots at 20 or higher. Let's take a look at what we get. We're going to open it as Vengeance. The purpose of opening it as Vengeance is I do want the Tainted Rage Heart. No tainted Rage Heart, but we have 470 Indestructible Wrists, Haste Mastery Socketed Ring, Mythic Track Shoulders from our dungeon slot, Mythic Track Chest Piece, and the Nightmare Shell Egg with Leech. So since we still have Catalyst charges available to us, we are going to take one of the Mythic Track items so we can catalyze it. I'm thinking we take the shoulder since it is our lower item level right now, and we catalyze that. Demon Hunter has a 20 fall to start the week. This should be nice and easy to push. Now, we also played the Warrior this week. No significant gear upgrades on him. He's still pretty much the same. We did run a few keys, though. So on the Warrior last week, we ended up completing a 20 Throne and a 20 Rise. So we got those two at 20, so we can start working towards our portal. And then we did a few 18s and 17s. He started at 2300 IO. He was actually 2356, and he's 2617. 2 tanks over 2600, 1 tank over 3k. I'm going to actually try to get them a little higher. I've noticed playing the Demon Hunter and the Warrior, they do not take damage in tyrannical keys. The Warrior especially, he just felt like a meat shield. So I'm going to see what it feels like in higher keys. I'm probably going to try to push all my tanks up to 3k, and then do a comparison how they felt in keys and in different affix groups. Now let's get to opening his bolt. We're just going to leave it on prot spec, see what we get. A Mythic Track tier. We got the Butcher's Block at Hero Track. I did only run 3 20 or highers and then 117. So I'm going to take the shoulders, of course, because they are Mythic Track tier. So from our weekly reward on the Warrior, after doing his 4 mythics, he actually ended up getting Fire Axe, One-Handed Axe, Golok. So we're probably going to start using that when we're pushing keys. Alright, next up we have the Paladin. I didn't really push on the Paladin, but I did run some 10 keys, just kind of trying to get the hang of the rotation, of how he feels. Now that I'm understanding Paladin more and more, I'm actually starting to enjoy it. You got interrupt for days, especially in Everbloom. You can kick both bosses consistently. So I believe he was about 430 at the start of the week. He's 435 now. Got a few upgrades. We're going to open Vault in Prot, and as you can see, yeah, there's a few 10 keys. I ran a Tal a couple times trying to get the eye. But yeah, I might play him a little more. Like I said, it is kind of fun. I have been enjoying Prot, and we'll see. Out of his weekly reward, the Pally actually ended up getting a heroic Gift of Ursine. So that was a huge upgrade, I think over like a 418. So trinket-wise, he's looking a little better. Now let's take a look at our vault. So because I just mentioned we did get a better trinket this week, I'm probably going to avoid taking the Nightmare Shell and take the Socketed Headpiece, which we will catalyze into tier. And on to our next tank. Now, the Druid isn't exactly very high item level. He's a lot lower than all my other ones. He actually was 449. When I did some keys this week, he's 451, got a couple upgrades. The item he got from his weekly was the wrist, so 470 wrist, nothing huge, but I'll take it. I believe we ran a couple 14s and 11. I know where he did 4 keys, but let's take a look at what he got in his vault. We're going to open it as Guardian. Weapons are very hard to come by. This is only a champion shack double borrowed time. It is one of our best in slot weapon from dungeons. Comes from Gallifron's Fall, not a hard dungeon, so if I do want it, I'll start farming it. For now, we're going to take the hero track hands, and we're going to catalyze those into tier. And another tank we did some keys and raid on. We actually took him to the back half of raid. We're hoping to get 4 bosses. Survivability on Heroic for Iraq was a bit of a challenge at 457. So unfortunately, I had to swap off onto my Monk. But my Monk did end up getting Tainted Rage Heart, so it wasn't too bad. So he will have, since I do have the raid slot, I'm going to open it as blood to see if I can get the Tainted Rage Heart. So let's take a look at our vault. We have a 470 hero track headpiece, a Verse Mastery neck hero track, and a Haste Mastery back piece. If I go for largest upgrade, it would be the back piece. Because we have catalyst charges, I am going to go for the head and catalyze it. Yeah, overall, some of the dungeons he did, he's only 60, he's about 1600 IO, nothing crazy. We did do some 14s, 11s, just kind of filled up the tyrannical week with keys and IO, so that way this week we can push a little higher if we want. Blood doesn't feel terrible, but I would like to get him high enough so he can do Heroic for Iraq, and that way we have a chance to Legendary. I mainly just want it for the Transmog. Alright, and we just keep going on to our next character that we played. We ended up playing our Shaman. He started at 463 item level last week. We ran a full Heroic raid on him as well, so we got some pieces out of that. From our weekly, we ended up getting a neck piece with a socket, crit haste, huge upgrade over what I already had. We did also replace our beacon finally with the spine trinket. So Shammy's starting to feel a lot better in keys. Taking a look at the dungeons we completed, the Shammy actually successfully did his first 20. We ended up doing 2. We have a 20 Atal Dazar that we timed, and we also have a 20 Blackrock hold. So I'm very happy with that on the Shaman. I want to work on him a little more. I've noticed in raid I was struggling using Cloudburst effectively, so I want to work on that, get a little better at it. But let's take a quick look at what we have out of our vault. So I have no idea how Ashes of Embersoul ended up on our loot table, considering we rolled as Resto, but hey, here's that trinket. So out of our options, we have a Hero Track waist piece, which would be an upgrade over what we're using today. We have Hero Track hands tier, which we wouldn't need. Then we're looking at a Crit Haste finger, really heavy on the crit, which is actually pretty good for us. It's also Mythic track. And then we also have a two-handed staff. Now, as a Chamois, we need the defensives, so we will not veer far from using the shield and a one-hander. So that is definitely not an option. I think the ring is our best bet. So I think we're going to take the ring because it's heavy on crit, and that is one of our more desired secondary stats, and that will replace the veteran Ring of Contempt. And finally, the last alt we played this week is the Mage. For the weekly 4 dungeons quest, the Mage actually ended up getting a Sun Collar. Best in slot hero track trinket. Cannot complain with that. That is an awesome upgrade to get from the weekly. Totally worth it on the Mage. Other than that, I didn't really push on the Mage. I didn't really get any gear on the Mage. Let's take a look at what we have in our vault. So we have 2 tier pieces, which is pretty impressive. We have the hero track hands, and then a champion track head. Now, might as well take the hero track because this we can upgrade further. Alright, that's it for the video, guys. Let me know if you like the new format with me keeping the Great Vault off to the side and then playing a B-roll in the background of one of the characters or a couple of them just running through keys. If you enjoy it, cool, give me a thumbs up, comment in the description below. Other than that, I think that's it for this week. We may try to push the Monk's IO up a little bit. Definitely going to work on the Demon Hunter, maybe the Warrior. We'll see. We've got a lot going on in real life, so having so many alts on the go is becoming a challenge. I do want to get some higher key dungeons done and then post some videos, but we'll see how it goes. I may do a tank comparison once I get the IO up on the other ones. Have a great one, everyone. Enjoy your week, and good luck in your vaults. Alright, and that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, hit that like and subscribe button to show me that you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.